Always look for food with the bordbia quality mark, so you can relax and enjoy it more.
For nearly 200 years, the Moss family have been milling flour here in Bennett's Bridge in County Kilkenny. And I'm interested to see how an old family business can keep up to date with innovation. The River Nore no longer powers the mill where the grain is turned into flour, but it provides a stunning backdrop to one of Ireland's longest established family businesses.
Neven, we're standing under the wheat bins, and this is where we feed the grain into the cleaning system. The grain comes in and it's full of impurities from the fields and everything. So the cleaning process is very important. Here we are at the cleaning machines. We're taking out all the impurities that are in the grain. And all this grain is coming from a grain assurance scheme, and it's assembled from the Wicklow, Wexford, Carlow, Kilkenny catchment area. The grain then goes for further processing, a machine where we pass it through air. The light material is floated away from the heavier grain.
And so the waste is going out there?
And the waste is coming out here. Now, Neven, this is where we collect all the impurities that we've cleaned out of the grain. So you can see here that we have bits of straw, soya bean, and some weed seeds. You've also got immature grains that we don't want in our finished wholemeal. This goes for further processing in that it can be converted into animal feed. Neven, here we have the wheat that's been cleaned. It's going to be fed into the millstone, and once it goes through the millstone, this is what the product is going to look like. So this is our ground product. You can feel we've generated a lot of heat and the texture. Good coarse texture, which gives it a nice nutty flavour. So Neven, here we have the packing, and this is the product coming into the bag. This is what it's all about, our finished product.
And how much do you mill a day?
We mill about 12,000 1-pound packets a day.
A lot of flour, that's amazing. Just across the river from the mill is a test kitchen, overseen by Bill's son Rob. Rob, how are you?
Neven, lovely to meet you.
And you too. I'm after having the most wonderful tour with your dad. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, he's so passionate about the mill. It's really a great place down there.
And what do you actually do here in the kitchen now?
So we use this facility for testing the flour, coming up with new recipe ideas. It's a competitive environment out there, so we're always coming up with new ideas and new developments.
So what are you going to do from here?
So we're going to bake a carrot cake for you. About 75% whole grain flour and 25% white flour.
Now that's different, because I haven't seen a recipe for carrot cake with wholemeal flour. That's something new.
That's right. Using whole grain flour is terrific because you can add a lot of texture, a lot of flavour, and you're also getting whole grains and extra fibre in there.
Okay, well let's get started.
Okay, well first of all we have to add the sugar.
Caster sugar, is it?
Caster sugar, yeah. So, and then we add our eggs to that. So 2 eggs. Then after that we add in the rapeseed oil.
Keeps it really moist, does it?
Keeps it nice and moist. After that, then we combine the carrot in there.
2 or 3 carrots, is it?
There's about 4 carrots, about 375 grams. So we mix all that together. We're going to add our flours and our raising agents. 25% white flour, so we just sieve that in so there's no lumps in there. The whole grain flour that you saw Dad milling down in the mill gives a nice kind of nutty crunch to it.
Rob, as well as the wholemeal, what other flours do you mill?
So we're also making spelt flour, and then we have a seeded grain flour as well.
These are some of the packaging here. Tell me about this.
New innovative packaging, which is just to put in a Ziploc, and that way you can seal the bag up. There's no flour bursting or puffing around your kitchen cupboard.
And keeps it fresh.
Keeps it fresh as well, yeah.
This one is interesting. Strong seeded wholemeal flour. These are all the seeds for roughage and all that. That's very clever.
That's right. So what we've done is we've added 30% grains to the flour. So there's brown linseed, golden linseed, buckwheat, millet and poppy seeds blended into it. And the idea is that if you add 50% white flour, by following the recipe on the back of the packet, you can make a lovely seeded loaf. So we've combined all those ingredients, the white flour, the wholemeal flour, the bicarb and the nutmeg. So we're going to put all of those together now into the mixture we made earlier. Slowly combined it. So now all the ingredients are blended together nicely. Transfer it now from the bowl into the baking tin, which we have pre-lined.
With parchment paper?
Just a little bit of parchment.
Is this a recipe that you handed down from your, or one you created? Or
It's a new creation,
okay.
In fact, yeah. We're trying to get people to use a little less white flour and a bit more whole grain flour. So we're going to put that in the oven now at 200 degrees for 40 minutes.
Good hot oven.
Yeah, it's a good hot oven.
And I suspect this is one you've made up earlier.
That's right, yeah. We were prepared for you today. So we're just going to ice this now. We have a mixture made up in advance. It's got a little bit of icing sugar, melted butter, lemon juice and cream cheese. So literally just nice and gently.
All over the top. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It looks really moist. Now, just a small little piece.
And now, dig in.
It's really good. It's moist. I love the icing. You get the creaminess, you get the carrots, the nutmeg.
And the nuttiness coming from the wholemeal as well.
That really comes through.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for baking here today, and your dad too. It's been an absolutely fantastic experience. Thank you.
Not at all. A pleasure. Thank you very much for coming to see us.
Great to see you. It's delicious. I'm going to finish off the programme cooking a beef dish, and I'm using Country Crest beef, which for me are one of the best beef producers in the country. Now I'm using chucka beef, and I'm going to show you how to make a beef bourguignon, which is really very quick to make. It takes a little while to cook. It's a great crowd pleaser. It's wholesome, it's hearty, it's just delicious, so it is. So, chucka beef, a little bit of seasoned flour. We're going to toss this in. So, plain flour, some salt, and a little touch of black pepper. So try and get the beef cut uniform size, because then it'll cook more or less evenly. A little bit of oil, just all over the pan. So I have the pan preheated, that's important. Get the beef and throw it into the flour. So the flour is going to actually thicken the sauce. So I'll just put it all in here. This is a great cut because there's a nice marbling of fat through it, because fat is flavour, and it's still a very lean cut, but a little bit of fat gives so much flavour to it. So just toss and then shake off each piece of beef. Bring this over. So just onto the pan, you can hear that sizzle. Toss that and shake it. So plain flour, salt and pepper, and that's all that I have in there. The flour on the beef will absorb a lot of the oil, so you might need a little bit more oil. And just the last couple of pieces here. Now if you're doing this, you know, for big quantities, for a group, you do it in batches, so small batches, so you would. Good hot pan, that's the key. A little bit more oil. And while I have the oil, I'm just going to preheat my pot. A couple of little cubes of butter into both. Add in the carrot and the celery, just into the other pot. Into that, I'm going to put in my smoked bacon. You're going to get a lovely flavour from the smoked bacon, and this is some really nice quality assured smoked bacon I'm using. Just let that cook off, and we're going to put some herbs, thyme and bay leaf. Gives great flavour to the beef bourguignon. So just let that cook. We're not looking for colour here, just to seal off the vegetables. Now I'm going to check the beef. So just a light little bit of brownness there. So if you brown it off nicely here, it's going to give so much flavour into your sauce. So into our saucepan, we're going to use some beef stock. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to flambe off the beef just with a little bit of brandy. So there's going to be brandy and then red wine, because that's what goes in to your bourguignon, is some nice red wine. Hold it, stand back. Good splash of that, and away we go. If you're looking over the pan, you've lost the eyebrows, so just be really careful. Let that reduce. It's going to simmer, so it is. And then into the saucepan, we're going to put in these beautiful chestnut mushrooms. We've just simply wiped them. That's all we've done. And I've kept them whole. So this will give lovely flavour and texture to the bourguignon. I'm a big fan of these now. They're a little bit time consuming to peel, but they give great flavour, so they do. And traditionally, this was the onion that was served and used making a bourguignon. So sprinkle this in. The reason we flambe the pan is first of all to get all the flavour from the bottom of the pan. There, and you flambe it so you cook out the alcohol. Now bring over your pan. It's your brown beef. Put it in here, still sizzling. Completely cover this with the red wine. And of course, this is a classic French dish, so they would use a nice burgundy wine. Never an expensive one, but never really a very, very cheap one either. Remember, when you cook this for nearly 2 hours, because it takes about 1 hour and 45 minutes, you're going to cook out all the alcohol. So you'll be left with the richness of the wine, you have the stock in there. What I like to do is put the lid on it, bring it to the boil, and then this needs to go into the oven. I'm going to cook this for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. The oven is preheated at 180, and then maybe after about 30-40 minutes, just give it a little stir, and that's it done. Look at that. Smell is fantastic. So this should be really melting them out. Let me just pick out a piece and just show you. Look, you don't even need a knife. A spoon will just eat that. Taste it a bit. It's delicious. The herbs, the smoked bacon, works fantastic. Just to serve with this, a simple mashed potato. Serve this just to the side. Bring the plate over. So I want to get as much as the beef first of all. You can see the onions, and they've kept their shape. That's why I like using those onions. Oh, look at the mushrooms. They shrink a little bit, but they still keep their shape too. It's a rich dish, but it's so full of flavour, and that's a good hearty portion. I usually like to finish it with a little bit of chopped parsley. And that, for me, it's wholesome, it's hearty, full of flavour, and a great showcase of Irish beef. And that's my beef bourguignon. I hope you enjoy.
Always look for food with the bordbia quality mark, so you can relax and enjoy it more.